Good morning, everyone. Today I thought I'd read the talk I gave at the Singapore and Malaysia mission satsangs. One of Paramaguru Yogaswami's statements about his deepest realizations compares his inner climb of the chakras to the outer climb of Mount Everest. I climbed Mount Everest in 3 days. There is nothing, no sun, no moon. Then you come down and there is Dharma, Adharma, and all things. Gurudeva gives this description of that state. Many people think of the realization of timeless, formless, spaceless Parashiva, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, as the most blissful of all blissful states. The opening of the heavens, the descent of the gods as a moment of supreme, sublime joyousness. Whereas I have found it to be more like cut glass diamond dust darshan, a psychic surgery, not a blissful experience at all, but really a kind of near-death experience resulting in total transformation. The bliss that is often taught as a final attainment is actually another attainment, Satchit Ananda, an aftermath of Nirvikalpa Samadhi and a before-math. This means that Satchit Ananda, Savakalpa Samadhi, may be attained early on by souls pure in heart, but it also means that one need not gauge the highest attainment on the basis of bliss, which it transcends. In my experience, the Anahata chakra, direct cognition, is the resting place of dynamic complacency, of thoughtful perception and quietude. Those of a lower nature arriving in the bloom of this chakra are released from turbulent emotions, conflicting thoughts, and disturbances. This, to many, is the end of the path. Attaining peace or shanti. Once one attains shanti as just described, in my experience, this marks the beginning of the path, or part 2, the second level. It is from here that the practices of Raja Yoga take hold once shanti is attained. End of the quote there. In the quote I just read, in addition to the experience of Parashiva, Gurudeva brought in the description of the 4th chakra, the Anahata chakra, as a natural resting place on the way to the summit of realizing Parashiva. Let's look closely at the comparison of the inner climb of the chakras to the external climb of Mount Everest. On the Nepal side of Mount Everest, the last major city below where climbers start is Kathmandu. We can compare living in Kathmandu to where individuals are before they start striving to go within, seeking to experience the higher chakras. The consciousness of those living in Kathmandu relates to the first 3 chakras of Muladhara, memory, Swadhisthana, reason, and Manipura, willpower. When someone becomes a seeker of higher states of consciousness, it is like flying from Kathmandu to the town of Lukia, the first destination for trekkers. The trekking route from Lukia to Everest Base Camp is about 65 kilometers, 40 miles, one way, typically completed over 8 to 10 days to allow for acclimatization. The trail passes through several villages before reaching base camp. For our seeker to reach his inner base camp of the Anahata chakra takes, of course, much longer than 8 to 10 days. It takes years of consistent daily sadhana, in which his journey leads him through purification of the subconscious mind, improving concentration, and developing his devotional nature. Of course, reaching base camp is not the ultimate goal for either our trekker or our seeker. For our trekker, there are 4 additional camps, making a total of 5. It is from the 5th camp that climbers attempt to reach the summit, which is at 8,849 meters, the highest altitude above mean sea level. For our seeker, he needs to learn to stabilize his awareness in the Anahata chakra and then, as Gurudeva mentioned, through Raja Yoga, make the ascent through the last 3 chakras of Vishuddha, divine love, Ajna, divine sight, and Sarasvara, illumination, which is our inner summit, where he can achieve the highest realization of Parashiva, the Absolute. Let's explore what we experience when we function in the Anahata chakra. Gurudeva described it as the realm of artists, inventors, creators of all kinds. Each time you design or create anything, you are bringing the beauty of the within through your nerve system into manifestation. It is a beautiful place to be, and you can be here all of the time by feeling the power in your spine. The minute you feel that radiant energy, you disconnect from instinctive intellectual consciousness and soar into inner consciousness. A few minutes of breath control will help you to feel the energy in the spine. Visualize a clear tube in the center of your spine being filled with yellow light coming down from the top of your head. Then inwardly see this pure life force flowing through the spine and out into the nerve system. Gurudeva adds this description, quote, "People with the Anahata chakra awakened are generally well-balanced, content, and self-contained. More often than not, their intellect is highly developed and their reasoning keen. The subtle refinement of their nature makes them extremely intuitive, and what is left of the base instincts and emotions is easily resolved through their powers of intellect. It is important that the serious aspirant gain enough control of his forces and karmas to remain stabilized at the heart chakra. This should be home base to him, and he should rarely or never fall below Anahata in consciousness. Only after years of sadhana and transmutation can this be attained, but it must be attained, and awareness must settle here firmly before unfoldment is sought." Unquote. Gurudeva's statements about the Anahata chakra fit well with comparing it with the Mount Everest base camp. Eventually, the goal is to experience the Anahata chakra during each morning sadhana vigil and then strive to hold that peaceful, creative consciousness throughout the day. Having begun our day in a consciousness of contentment, creativity, and intuition, we soon encounter the many ways that inner state can be lost. Here are 6 suggestions on how we can sustain this consciousness throughout the entire day. First suggestion. The most basic requirement is following the yamas, Hinduism's ethical restraints. Adharmic actions such as lying and hurting others disturb the mind and emotions and draw us out into the swirl of external consciousness. Second suggestion, not letting disagreements turn into arguments is also crucial. Disagreements are natural, but they should be handled in an intelligent and harmonious way. We must always be willing to compromise to keep discussions from turning into conflicts. Domestic arguments are the most destabilizing. Third suggestion. Every day we are assaulted by a barrage of advertisements promising greater happiness if we acquire whatever they are promoting. This constant enticement presents a major challenge to sustaining a contented consciousness. Fancy new cars, faster computers, attractive clothes all promise the ever-elusive state of mind called happiness. We can rise above this false allure by holding the perspective that we are content with what we currently have If we acquire something more, it will not be because we think it will make us happier, but because it will benefit our family in a meaningful way. Fourth suggestion, gratitude is an important aspect of holding an inner consciousness. Key to nurturing gratitude is giving thanks for all the good things in our life. We are grateful for our family and friends, grateful for our job or school, grateful for the home we live in, grateful for the wisdom and practices of our religion. Fifth suggestion, the affirmation, I'm all right now, a metaphysical tool that Gurudeva gives us in merging with Shiva, is also helpful in sustaining an inner consciousness. It is a way to live in the eternity of the moment where we feel perfect in the now, with no future to worry about and no past to regret. Sixth suggestion, when we look at the world as providing our happiness, life is a constant series of emotional ups and downs. When we derive our contentment from within, life is joyous, and we can share that joy with others. In conclusion, though we want to eventually experience the higher chakras of Vishuddha, Ajna, and Sarasvara, and of course ultimately achieve the realization of Parashiva, we need to first perfect experiencing the Anahata chakra of direct cognition during our daily vigils, and after that achieve the gradual mastery of living in it throughout the entire day. Thank you very much.